Good evening and welcome to Van Wert High School. It is game 2 of the doubleheader this evening. This will be the boys' version of Lincolnview at Van Wert. Lincolnview Lancers coach Brett Hammond's team comes in at 4-4. They are 0-1 in the Northwest Conference. Van Wert Cougars, Ben Laudick's team, they are 2-8, 0-2 in the Western Buckeye League. My name is Mark Shine. It's my pleasure to do play-by-play alongside Coach Mark Bagley. Mark, interesting matchup, non-conference game. Two teams closely related as far as geographical things. Good matchup this evening.
It is. It's a great county rivalry and a little history. Over the last 10 years, Van Wert is 6-4 in this game. And Lincolnview is playing great basketball right as of now. They won 3 games in a row. So this should be a really exciting game tonight between two teams that are only about 5 miles apart.
Let's look at games keys for tonight's game. First of all, let's look at what the game keys you have for the Lincolnview Lancers.
First for Lincolnview, they got to pressure the basketball tonight. They're not very big, but they will pressure Van Wert all over the court, make this game faster with their size disadvantage. Number 2, they got to box, rebound the backside, and run. Get out and go and try to get easy baskets. And number 3, the mental war. Playing a county rival, on the road, handling emotions. Those are all going to be important things tonight.
Van Wert Cougars, they are 2-8, had a tough loss last night in the Western Buckeye League to Defiance. Game they led early. Defiance came back to win 59-46. How about keys to game tonight for Van Wert?
First of all, freshman point guard. Turnover is going to be key. Dead ball versus live ball. Dead ball, you can defend. You can't defend live ball. And so far this year, Van Wert's been outscored almost double in the first quarter. Last night was an exception, but they have to get off to a good start. Rebound, win that backside war. They've been out-rebounded by 7 rebounds a game this year, so that's going to be an important thing for them. And then get easy baskets using size. Even though Connor Campbell's out tonight with an injury, they have to be able to use their size advantage inside to get easy buckets.
Very quickly, Lincolnview Lancer will start number 2, Cal Evans. Number 5, Reed Jackson. 11 is Chase Overholt. 22, Holden Price. And number 32 is Bennett Kill. Van Wert will start number 0, Gage Steeman. Number 2, Caden Schaefer. Number 5, Rylan Miller. 11 will be Keaton Welch. And number 24 will be Colin Haggerty. Game 2 of this matchup between Lincolnview and Van Wert will come up next. You're watching high school basketball on WOSN. We're at Van Wert High School. Our scoreboard is brought to you by Laudick's Jewelry, your family-owned and operated jeweler for over 70 years. Visit them at 1244 South Shannon Street in Van Wert or online at loudix.com. Mark Shine, Coach Mark Bagley. Mark, I looked over the Lincolnview roster, my first chance to see them live. They have just one player who's 6 foot today, and that is Bennett Kill, who's a 6'3 junior.
Yeah, they're going to try to get up, and their philosophy has been to go play full court pressure, just pressure you, try to make you make turnovers because their size, they don't want to get in a slow-down half-court game, and it's been effective as of late. They've won 3 in a row after a tough start, and veteran coach Brett Hammond has done a really nice job with this young team, getting them ready to play.
Their leading scorer is Cal Evans. He wears number 2. He's a 5'9 senior, averaging 12.9 points per game and a sparkling 24 of 26 at the free throw line. You mentioned a little bit in your pregame talk that Van Wert's missing a player this evening, Connor Campbell, out with an injury.
Yeah, most nights Connor Campbell is the best athlete on the floor for either team. He is a phenomenal athlete, an outstanding football wide receiver, and they're going to miss him tonight. His athleticism, ability to get his own shot. So Van Wert will have to go to the next guy up, and it's Gage Steeman in their bench tonight. A very inexperienced young team with a freshman point guard that's trying to find their way right now with a tough schedule.
Connor Campbell was averaging 11.6 points per game and 6.9 rebounds. He's also made 5 3-point field goals. So his presence will be missed this evening. That means that the leading scorer then is going to become Keaton Welch, a 5'10 freshman. He had 17 in their loss last night to Defiance. Shoots the ball very well from the 3-point line. He's also a good free throw shooter, but a young man as a freshman with a promising career.
Yeah, and Keaton has that ability to shoot the pull-up jump shot, which is kind of a lost art in high school basketball. Obviously, his grandfather, Hall of Fame coach Al Welch, and his dad, Rob Welch, who played at Wayne Trace and Wright State University. He's got a lot of good blood there as well. So it should be a really interesting chess match between two teams trying to find momentum heading into 2024.
Lincolnview has not played since a week ago today. They went to Fort Recovery and won a game 54-45. That makes them 4-4 in the season. They average 56 points a game. They give up 60.6. Mentioned a moment ago, Van Wert lost last night to Defiance 59-46. They scored at 48 points a game. They give up 59.8. So, Mark, both teams have given up a lot of points on the season, about 60 a game.
They have, and that's why I expect a track meet tonight to try to get easy baskets, because neither team have found their way defensively in the half court yet with size matchups, inexperience, those kind of things. And it's always interesting, too, not playing the night before. You know, sometimes we as coaches overanalyze that, but what is there rust coming off, the holiday season? Or they had a lot of practice time to really do things. And Van Wert losing a tough game last night in the league. It's always interesting to see how that, if you win, doesn't matter. If you lose it, well, then you have discussions from that. So here we go.
Bennett Kill and Rylan Miller jump center. The ball goes in the backcourt to Keaton Welch. Lincolnview wearing blue. Van Wert in their home whites, and they are on the left side of your screen. Coming off a screen, this is Welch. Headed baseline. Bounce pass inside, and he drops a dime to Colin Haggerty.
That was a really good possession by Van Wert there. Good movement and a nice bounce pass from Welch to Haggerty for a layup. And that's what you want to try to do when you struggle to score.
Reed Jackson goes to the rim and will draw the first foul of the basketball game. Welch picks up his first foul. Reed Jackson shoots 61% from the free throw line. Our free throw center sponsored by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken in Lima, Wapak, Delphos, and in St. Mary's. Call Lee's for your catering needs. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Home style happens here as Reed Jackson makes his first free throw. Averages 5.9 points per game, and that one will roll out on him, and Haggerty rebounds.
Full court pressure. They're going to really try to put a lot of pressure on Welch.
Crosses midcourt with the ball. Good show on the screen that time. Here's a jump pull-up you talked about. It's blocked, though. Haggerty gets the rebound. Has to back it out.
There's a big size difference with Haggerty right now, and Lincolnview switching everything on the dribble weave.
Penetration dribble, turnaround jump shot will roll around and fall in for Caden Schaefer. Coming off a 9-point game last evening and averaging 8.1 points per game.
And Van Wert really needs Schaefer's leadership. He played some last year on that regional finalist team.
Move to the goal. That's a finish by Cal Evans. Good scoring opening up for both teams here in our first quarter of action.
And you can see some of the defensive problems that both teams allow straight line drives like this.
Yeah, Welch is going to the rim, and he will draw a foul. We should bring up our officiating crew tonight as David DeBerry, Randy Prince, and Jeff Rex. Price picks up his first foul into the free throw line. Will go Keaton Welch, 67.5% free throw shooter. Nope, take it out of bounds or not.
At first, Randy said on the floor, but now he's saying 2 shots. So
yeah.
That's the right call.
I thought it was, and I was already marked it in my book, so it better be correct. Although I do have my eraser with me this evening. Welch makes the first of his Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken free throws.
There's a lot of similarities between Keaton and his dad, the way they play, the way they look, and the way they shoot it. And be fun to watch him the next 4 years.
That's a pretty good gene pool, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Cougars up 6-3 early.
The first key, can people keep the ball in front of them tonight? So far, neither team has been able to do that. Straight line drives and layups.
Bennett Kill with the basketball. He will hand it off to Reed Jackson. Playing behind a screen. Jackson goes up, can't finish, but teammate gets a shot inside, and then Rylan Miller's able to secure the rebound in traffic. Here's Schaefer that Coach Bagley mentioned a moment ago. Spin dribble. And back to Welch.
And Van Wert does a lot of dribble drive, ball screen action.
Jump shot in the lane for Haggerty. And it was knocked out of bounds by a Lancer. That brings in number 40, Steve Smith for Lincolnview. Also will come in as number 12, Max Hammonds. Looking and finally the pass inside to Haggerty, and Haggerty's got an and one opportunity.
It's been an out-of-bounds play that Van Wert has used for about 30 years. It's called pickup, and it's produces lots of layups.
Justin Toad had just come into the game and got a foul. I was thinking I came to the Lyman area in 1987. I think I've seen that play since then a few times. (9-4) lead. Steve Smith is able to score on that one. Welch right to the rim and scores. Welch has 4.
And you saw that drive for a freshman. Really good body control, kept his shoulders squared, but was able to use the glass for the 2 points. And a really good start for Van Wert here offensively.
That it is. 11 points. We're just 3 minutes into this one. Team that averages 48 a game. Into the corner, Cal Evans trying to work baseline, can't get away from Schaefer. Here's penetration dribble, toe. He gets cut off. Smith came in just a moment ago, sets a screen. 3-ball attempt, Jackson. Reed Jackson has our first Lee Kinsel Sales and Service 3-point field goal.
And Van Wert went underneath that screen 4th man, and I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but he hit it, and they'll have to adjust to that.
11-8. Schaefer. Pass inside Haggerty. Works the lane. And Haggerty's having a really nice opening quarter. He's got 7.
Van Wert did a really good job there on the double screen. They slipped it because Lincolnview switching every screen, and Haggerty was patient and finished inside.
13 now to 8. Here's Smith. And then Toe. Short. Smith rebounds. His jumper in the lane ends up in the hands of Rylan Miller. Caden Schaefer trying to work in the lane, can't. Welch from 15, pull-up jumper. And it was hit out of bounds, but it was done so by a Lancer.
It's actually off Van Wert. And early on, Rylan Miller has been really active on the boards for Van Wert. He's had a really nice year. He's been a JV player for a couple years and getting his opportunity now to play for Coach Loddick and has done a nice job.
Well, it was hard to crack a lineup here the last couple of years. There's a very talented class that went through here and graduated in last spring.
Absolutely. They were good in 3 sports. And
left-handed shot off the glass by Hammonds. The rebound went to Steeman and will go the other way. Schaefer throws it ahead to Miller. Back cut, Schaefer. Haggerty gets another pass handed to him, and he's got a 9-point quarter.
And that's been one of his struggles this year is the finish inside. And tonight he's not playing against bigger players, so he's been able to finish inside, and he's done a really good job of.
He's caught the ball in traffic a few times. I mean, that's some tough catches sometimes. 15-8, and we're going to get carry the basketball call that will go against Lincolnview.
And that's our first turnover, Mark.
I was about to say, I couldn't remember one. Nate Gearhart enters the game. He wears number 10 for Van Wert.
And it'll be interesting to see how much Van Wert subs tonight. You know, played last night, and they're down a man, and they don't go very deep in their bench. With the new rule of 6 quarters over the last few years, that allows you some flexibility, though.
Haggerty tried to muscle to the rim and will draw a foul. That went to Preston Toe. Now has 2 fouls here in the opening quarter. Haggerty with a 9-point quarter. Could be a double-figure score, and he only averages 7.2 a game. Now 10.
He's very capable. He battled some injuries from football, and he's getting healthy now. And I think as he's learned to finish inside like we've seen tonight, he's made free throws.
Made both of his Lee's famous recipe chicken free throws on that possession and 3 in the game. And it is 17-8 early on Cougars.
And Van Wert has not attempted a three-pointer. They've gone in exclusively inside and made free throws for this early lead.
Bennett Kill has to scramble after the ball that was tipped loose. Passes to Holden Price, and then they reset. This is Kill.
Lincolnview really cuts hard. They open post, back screen, and pop.
Rebound attempt went up by Chase Overholt and missed. A couple of good looks that time for the Lancers. It didn't fall as we're approaching 100 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. Wing pass, Rylan Miller.
They had screened buddy there, and the slip wasn't open because they didn't have to switch. That was good defense by Lincolnview.
Haggerty tracks it down in the corner and goes baseline where he's cut off, double teamed. Schaefer, spin move for him. Maybe Schaefer's got 4 in the opening quarter.
And Van Wert's not settling. They're 7 for 10 from 2, and it's all been dribble drive action or post up action inside.
It's 19-8. Pull up jumper Bennett. Bennett Kill.
Lincolnview needed that.
Yes, they did. Gerhardt, and he gives it back to Schaefer.
And right now, Van Wert's exclusively playing 6 guys and just rotating 1 guy in, and we'll see how that wears on him throughout the game.
Schaefer tries to get to the rim, gets cut off. It's tipped back to him. Short jumper. Caden Schaefer ends up with the pass in his hands, and he scores his 5th and 6 points.
That was one of those deflections. Look what I found, and good finish.
And then Schaefer will get called for a foul. Just a second on the Cougars as it's 21-10 on our Loudix Jewelry scoreboard.
And Lincolnview's playing lots of guys right now. They're trying to get in the flow. They've been off for a while. Again, that's been advantage Van Wert. Well, we talked about their slow starts. Had a good one last night, have a great one tonight. So Lincolnview's trying to find the right combo right now to get back in the game.
This is Cal Evans with the basketball as they're going to play last shot here in the opening quarter.
I think we'll probably see a high ball screen here.
Here it comes. Pull up jumper. Tip. Oh, that was a nice tip by Smith.
Was that a pass or a shot?
Well, if I'm throwing it, it's a pass.
I'm going to give it assist and a shot.
Okay. Otherwise, you got to give an offensive rebound.
Yes.
Schaefer throws the ball up to midcourt. Steeman's going to turn and can't get a shot off before the buzzer. A lot of points on the board in the opening quarter. It's 21-12. 21-12 Cougars. You're watching high school basketball on WOSN. We're back at Van Wert where we had 1 3-point field goal in the opening quarter. Our 3-point sponsor tonight is Lee Kinsel on Irving Road in Van Wert. Take a look at our pre-owned specials at leekinsel.com. Stats, Coach Begley?
Yeah, for Lincolnview in the first quarter, really struggled to shoot the basketball. 4 of 10 from 2 and 1 of 2 from 3. Had a good finish there to cut it back down to 9. 1 of 2 from the line for their 12 points. Van Wert, a blazing 8 of 11 from 2. Did not attempt a 3 in the first quarter. 5 of 5 from the line for their 21 points. So we'll see what kind of adjustments both teams make here to start the second quarter.
Colin Haggerty had 11 in the opening quarter. Stephen Smith and Reed Jackson had 4 apiece for the Lancers. Lincolnview ball to start the second quarter, and they go backdoor cut right away, and the shot gets missed by Reed Jackson.
They just ran Van Wert's back door and just missed the layup there.
Welch, penetration dribble, pull up from 12. Rebound come inside to Steeman. Welch again, this time he goes up from the shorter range and scores. He's got 6 in the game now.
And Van Wert's got another freshman out there, number 20, Cohen Bragg. So 2 freshmen on the floor right now for Van Wert.
23-12. Smith and scramble for the ball. It ends up in the hands of Jackson. There's a 3 that'll go up from the baseline perimeter. Lincolnview hustles into the rebound, and by doing so, they're going to get an offensive foul. Trying to muscle his way to the rim was Holden Price, and he will pick up foul number 2.
Lots of action happening right there, and no points scored. Lincolnview's just struggling to find an offensive rhythm right now.
23-12 on our Loudix Jewelry scoreboard. Here's a pass inside to Haggerty, and he traveled with the ball, caught it off balance.
Yeah, Van Wert never got organized right there and didn't screen anybody, and then Lincolnview made a good hustle play to make him travel.
This will be sideline out of bounds, triggered in by Holden Price. Smith posted up inside, threw it out front instead to Evans.
And he had him open in the post.
Price working in the lane. Bounce pass across the lane, but it's stolen by Haggerty. Tried to force it across court to Smith. Haggerty's going to go line lane and to the rim and rolled it in. And that will be a Lincolnview timeout. 6:32 to go here in the second. You're watching high school basketball, WOSN. Our scoreboard tonight is brought to you by Loudix Jewelry, your family-owned and operated jeweler for over 70 years. Visit them at 1244 South Shannon Street in Van Wert or online at loudix.com. And Coach Hammond's wanted a timeout right now.
That's a coach's worst nightmare, and you show that on film, and doesn't do it justice, but live, when a player goes coast to coast and no one stops them, that's almost an automatic timeout, I think, in coaching.
If you got any left, you're going to burn one right there and have some discussion about playing defense, Dolls.
And there wasn't any Christmas card talk on that timeout, I'm sure of.
Yeah, Lincolnview responds. No points on the board. There's a 3-ball that's going to go up. Bounces around, rebound to Welch.
And right now, Van Wert's making Lincolnview take shots they want them to take, and that's been the difference in this game.
Keaton Welch put off the screen, got doubled. Haggerty at the top of the circle. Welch comes off another screen, works the baseline. This ball is going to go up from Rylan Miller. The ball's tipped out of bounds. That was that freshman Bragg you talked about a moment ago going for the rebound. Instead, it's knocked out of bounds by Lincolnview.
And next year when he gets stronger, he'll get that rebound and not knocked out of his hand. He's had a couple balls knocked out, but his effort is good and kept it alive for Van Wert there.
Pass to Haggerty inside on the out-of-bounds play. Haggerty's got 15, and Coach Hammonds wants another timeout. And I think that's a play you discussed in your pregame. That's their out-of-bounds play, fellas, and we did not handle it the way we discussed in our pregame.
Absolutely, and I think he's used 230s here on a straight line layup, full court, and then the out-of-bounds play that Van Wert had scored the exact same way earlier. And so Coach Hammond is trying anything he can do to get his team focused right now. And them not playing right now is maybe affecting them. Right, they've had a long layoff.
Yep.
And so when you come back and win and tire the other team out, it's an advantage. But when you play like they've played so far, it's a disadvantage. And I think Van Wert came back hungry today after a tough one with Defiance last night.
Mark, you live here in Van Wert County. Do these schools open gym in the summer times together? Players compete against each other a lot?
For many years we have, and maybe not as much now as in the past, but yes, they do play a lot together in different ways.
Well, Cal Evans said, I've seen enough of this. He went to the rim and scored.
He went to his right hand, and it was a nice pull-up jump shot there. And that's what Lincolnview needs. They need those kind of effort.
Schaefer for 3. And he was fouled taking that jump shot. And he was by Cal Evans. So 3 free throws for Caden Schaefer. Our free throw sponsor is Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken in Lima, Wapak, Delphos, and St. Mary's. Call Lee's for your catering needs. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, where home style happens here.
And that's kind of how the first half has gone for Lincolnview, Mark. That's probably a shot they could live with, contested, but when you foul them, that didn't work.
And one more here on the 3 free throw opportunity.
And Van Wert has not been a great free throw shooting team this year, and they're 7 of 8 right now.
And made that one as well. Rylan Miller will enter. Coach is just kind of rotating the guy about every dead ball, isn't he?
Yeah, played Cohen a little bit. They played 7 so far, but yeah, there's been trying to get each guy a break here after a tough Friday night game.
30-14. There's a 3 that'll go in. Oh, it's a 2.
It was a 2,
yeah. Toe gets a basket, his first of the game. He averages 7.5 a game.
And so far, the full court pressure of Lincolnview has not caused Van Wert to turn it. They've had 1 turnover.
Keaton Welch will back it up and reset the offense. Under 5 minutes to go, quarter number 2.
And right now, Lincolnview's goal would be to get under 10 here heading into the third quarter and regroup.
Welch comes off a dribble drive handoff. Welch for 3. Haggerty battled for the rebound. He and a teammate collided heads. And right to the rim. And the foul will be called. It'll put Bennett Kill at the line, and Haggerty got up slow.
He did, and I think it was 2 teammates that both had the ball, knocked it out of each other.
Yeah. Rylan Miller is assessed the foul. That's one of those that you can't really stop play as an official. You have to allow the play to continue until Van Wert secures the ball. It's a dead ball.
Yeah, when shots to the head happen, usually that could be a lot of different things happen there, but he seems to be okay.
He does. Kill makes the first of his Lee's Famous Recipe chicken free throws. And the second. He's got 4 points in the game. 30-18.
Lincolnview's going to a little bit of maybe a diamond. No, just man-to-man, run and jump maybe a little bit.
Hayden Schaefer. Keaton Welch splits the defense, goes to the rim, and will draw contact.
And you can see what he did there. He did a jab step and then did a hesitation. That's skill level work. That's not just playing basketball. That's hours in the gym, and that was a really nice move by Keaton.
Max Hammonds, a 5'9" freshman, picks up his first foul, and Welch will go to the free throw line. .7 for him. Lee's Famous Recipe chicken free throw. Eight points in the game for him now.
10 for 10 from the line for Van Wert. So a really clean game for them this first half, the first 12 minutes.
Turning the corner and going to the rim, but not able to finish is Cal Evans under pressure. Haggerty dribbles the length of the floor. Bounce pass back from Schaefer. Scoop shot, and it rolls in for 17 in the game. Everything 10 above his average.
Everything Haggerty throws up right now turns to gold.
He's a player who does not want halftime to occur.
No, he doesn't.
Bennett Kill, turnaround jumper. He's got 6. The number of times I've seen players have huge opening halves, go to the locker room, and it all cools down, and you come back out and everything's a struggle. He doesn't want halftime to occur.
Yeah, and teams make adjustments because, he's not the first guy you're going to see on the scouting report.
Steal, rim run, and finishing inside. It's Christian Toe.
And that's what Lincolnview does need, layup turnovers. They got one there, and they're trying to make Van Wert play faster right now.
Bounce pass. Steeman was going to go up for it, and the ball got slapped out of his hand.
And longtime reporter Jim Cox had a turnover in the front row of the old Cat Pack.
There he goes. Spent a lot of time when I started at WSM with his son. Bounce pass inside. Haggerty was poked away from behind.
They tried the lob play, seal on the backside there, and Lincolnview did a good job of stuffing that one out.
Trent Cox did a lot of production for WSM when I first began. Well, it was WTLW then when I first began. Back in the early 2000s, really good guy.
Yes.
Under 3 minutes to go. Welch comes off a screen, tries to split that trap again. Gets the ball back and throws it cross court, but I think he got called for a charge. He did.
And what Lincolnview's done now, that's 2 straight turnovers by Van Wert. They've sped them up, and they're just playing a little too fast where The whole half they put under control, and right now they're a little out of control. This is a chance for Lincolnview, like I said, to get it under 10 at half and regroup.
It's 2:44 to go here in the second. Keaton Welch has picked up his second foul, headed to the bench. Interested to see if his first half activities are over this evening. Here's Kill working the lane, gets cut off. Evans tries to go baseline, he gets cut off. Turnaround jumper in the lane, Toe, nope, rebound, Miller.
And Miller's size caused that miss right there.
Ryland Miller has not scored, but he has affected the game in the rebound and defensive area.
He has. His length has really affected Lincolnview inside.
Haggerty, top of the circle. And he was working his way to the rim and was held. See by who? Bennett Kill gets foul number 1.
It's
fourth team foul.
Yep, 14 fouls. Next one, we're shooting 2. Line change for Lincolnview.
Coach has just been trying to keep fresh bodies out and searching for a combo. This is Miller, we talked about it a little bit just a moment ago.
When Van Wert penetrates, they're always looking for a back cut. And Lincolnview's done a better job here as of late to take that away.
Caden Schaefer, bounce pass in the lane. Haggerty gets it blocked, but blocked into the hands of Gage Steeman, and Gage has his first basket of the game.
Again, everything Haggerty's done has been perfect this first half. That was kind of a lucky bounce there for Van Wert.
36-22, 3 ball. That's a 3 that will go for Toe. A Lee Kinsel Sales and Service 3-point field goal. Take a look at our pre-owned specials at leekinsel.com.
Got it down to 11.
They did. Looking for a stop here, the team in blue. Haggerty well on the perimeter now. Now he's posted up inside. Working really hard against Holden Price. There's a lob to him. Backside help. That was a nice defensive play by Toe. Three ball, almost back-to-back opportunities. Smith battles for it, and he does so with Cohen Bragg, who gets the foul. Looks like Cohen Bragg gets the foul.
And Lincolnview slowly but surely are doing little things right now. That was great backside help defense. That's been 4 turnovers for Van Wert here in this quarter, the last 4 minutes. And so
it is a 32-minute game, isn't it?
It is. And both teams that have struggled all year to try to find consistency. That's what's happening right now with Van Wert.
Steeman knocked it out of bounds. Toe was coming open inside, and Van Wert thinks it's their basketball, and I think the officiating crew is going to say Lincolnview. 34.2 seconds to go. Bounce pass inside, and that shot's blocked by Steeman. That one's blocked by Steeman, and Schaefer's going to get a run out. And scores. Jay Steeman's got 4.
Great hustle play there by Steeman to get that, and then Schaefer cleaned up the mess.
11 in the opening half.
Huge play there, a layup to cut to 9, and now it's 13.
Couple of block shots by Steeman, and then the run out. Evans tries to turn the corner. His shot is bothered, and that opening half will come to an end. The Cougars put 38 on the board. Lancers 25 after 16 minutes. Second half coming up after this. You're watching high school basketball on WOSN. Second half warm-up period almost done here at the Van Wert High School. Van Wert leads halftime 38-25 over the Lincolnview Lancers. Mark Bagley, what kind of stat numbers do you have in the opening half? Some pretty good scoring numbers, I know.
Yes, for Van Wert, 14 of 17 from 2, 82%. Only taking 2 threes, 0 of 2, 74% from the field, 10 of 10 from the line, 100% for the 38 points. For the visiting Lincolnview Lancers, 8 of 18 for 44%, 2 of 4 from 3, 50%. Overall, 44.5%, not bad, but only 4 free throw attempts for 75%. So Lincolnview really has to, at halftime figure out how to keep Van Wert out of the inside, because Van Wert's not shooting threes. They're going right down the pipe on a layup or a post up. And they made a little run there at the end of the second quarter, but wasn't able to sustain it. So these first 4 minutes for Lincolnview will be really important for the rest of this game.
Lincolnview quarter scores of 12 and 13. Preston Toe has 7, 6 for Bennett Kill, and 4 apiece for Cal Evans, Reed Jackson, and Stephen Smith. On the other side, Van Wert has quarter scores of 21 and 17. They're led by 17 points from Colin Haggard in the opening half. They got 11 from Caden Schaefer, and it is basketball belonging to the Cougars to start the second half. Gage Steeman. Keaton Welch comes off a screen. They wanted a back cut. Schaefer penetration dribble. Here's Haggerty working the lane. Welch from 17. That was pretty.
That was a great possession because we got the ball inside. Van Wert did to Haggerty, and he set a great screen for Welch. That's his strength. Pull-up jump shot.
That he did. He looked very pretty doing that one and very comfortable. He becomes a double-figure scorer now with 10. There's a 3 back at the other side, and that 3 ball will fall for Chase Overholt.
3-point field goal for Chase Overholt.
His first basket of the evening, his 11th 3-point field goal of the season.
And Lincolnview will keep on playing hard. They're not going to go away. They're going to make Van Wert earn it.
They are working at the defensive end right now. Haggerty tries to get open inside and cannot. Miller goes to the rim, and his shot's a little bit hard. Holden Price rebounds and throws it ahead. 3-point field goal sponsored by Lee Kensel Sales and Service this evening in Van Wert on Irvin Road. Take a look at our pre-owned specials at leekensel.com. Bennett Kill. Here's another 3 that's going to go up. Kill swats it around, but out to Welch. It's 2-on-1 the other way. Lincolnview hurrying back. That was a really nice hustle play made by Holden Price. Did he end up on the baseline?
He was. It's Van Wert's ball underneath.
.40-28 on our Loudix Jewelry scoreboard as Keaton Welch will enter the basketball. Seemed like everybody over in this neck of the word has a really good freshman or sophomore guard.
Yeah, there was a lot of experience in the area here last year, and a lot of that graduated. So yeah, this is a very good freshman class.
Haggerty trying to back down his defender and lost his balance and traveled. That was the defensive possession that time.
That was a great possession, and he kind of took the chair out from underneath him. Offensively, you want to have contact in the post to feel where he's at. He just backed up, and that was a great play by Lincolnview there.
That was Bennett Kill with that defensive pressure that time, or lack thereof. Here's another 3 that's going to go up, and it rattles around and falls in. Cal Evans now has a 3-point field goal, 7 points, and the lead is under 10.
And the recipe is Van Wert shoots layups, and Lincolnview right now are shooting 3s and making them, and that's been getting them back in the basketball game.
That being under 10 is such a psychological event. Welch trying to get loose on the baseline, kick out. This is the freshman, Bragg. Welch wants to go to the left side of the free throw line. He gets cut off, and Van Wert's going to reset.
Lincolnview has done a great job of squaring their shoulders and not letting driving angles.
There's a real nice job double teaming off a screen. And Haggerty pushes his way to the rim where he'll draw a foul. That was a really good defensive sequence for the team in blue as well.
It was, and they're playing so hard that there's 3 guys there to the table every about 3 minutes because Lincolnview's pressure right now is starting to affect Van Wert.
Free throws are sponsored tonight by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken in Lima, Wapak, Delphos, and in St. Mary's. Call Lee's for all your catering needs. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home style, happens here.
And what do teams do when they get pressured that hard? You got to do one of 3 things. You got to drive right at the basket like Haggerty did. You got to back cut, or you got to back screen. One of those 3 things will alleviate pressure.
Both those free throws missed. Those are the only 2 missed free throws of the evening for Van Wert.
And that just drives coaches crazy. Great possession, missed both free throws, and Coach Hammond's body says it all right now.
Welch comes off a screen to 12 feet, elevates. Good check out, good rebound that time to Max Hammonds.
This is what's happened this year to Van Wert. They've gone 3-4 minutes of cold stretches, and that's what they've tried to eliminate. And right now, Lincolnview has a chance to make a little run here.
And right to the rim, and an and one opportunity is going to occur for Max Hammonds.
Basket counts. Cougar foul number 20, Cohen Bragg.
Cohen Bragg gets his second foul.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Laudick take a timeout here.
Shooting 1.
It was 38-25 at the half. It is 40-33. And now 34 here on the Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken free throws.
And this is where you start wondering, is Van Wert getting a little tired? Is Lincolnview fresh because they didn't play and they're rotating more guys in?
Trap, three-quarter court. Schaefer throws it up ahead. Bragg to the rim. And fortunately bounced to Welch. And his shot will fall short. Scramble for the loose ball. Reed Jackson's going the other way and will be fouled by Caden Schaefer, who's now got 2 fouls. And momentum is definitely wearing a blue jersey right now.
Yeah, here comes the timeout. You can see it coming.
4:22 to go here in the third. Lincolnview on a roll. You're watching high school basketball, WOSN. Back to the Van Wert High School Gymnasium, where our scoreboard event is brought to you by Loudix Jewelry, your family-owned and operated jeweler for over 70 years. Visit them at 1244 South Shannon Street in Van Wert or online at loudix.com. You talked about the first 4 minutes of half number 2. It's gone the way of the Lancers. Looking, out of bounds play, and the lob pass ends up out on top in the hands of Toe. He spins in the lane, gives it up. Evans scoop shot in the lane. Schaefer rebounds.
And that's a shot you want a player. I don't care how big or small you are. Don't change your shot that much.
Cal Evans is going to pick up foul number 3 on an over-aggressive defensive play. It's that constant sub thing going on. This time it'll be Overholt and Price into the game.
Van Wert needs to have a good possession here to get back in the flow of things again. And Lincolnview is going to keep on applying pressure.
Schaefer gets doubled coming off the screen. Bragg looks. Steeman gets a 3 look. That's the first made three-point field goal of the evening. I have Gage Steeman for 1 made three-point field goal in the season. He buried that one.
I was going to say that wasn't the guy I thought would shoot it, but that was a huge shot for Van Wert.
Three-point field goal sponsored by Lee Kinsel Sales and Service. Battle for the rebound and sticking with it long enough to score is Stephen Smith. He's got 6 in the game. Bragg gets a look at 3. Scramble for the ball. Who did it go off of? I think it went off the back of Chase Overholt.
And Welch has made 2 huge offensive rebounds in the third quarter to kind of keep it Lincolnview away from a little bit, but Lincolnview is just charging right now, and Van Wert needs some kind of positive thing to happen for him.
Haggerty looks and looks and looks, and I think Overholt slapped that one out of bounds too, didn't he? No, it went off of Caden Schaefer.
He was standing out of bounds.
I see.
And the ball hit him, and that was the right call. And Lincolnview's effort has been outstanding in this third quarter. They've really gotten back in this game by effort.
3 minutes to go in quarter number 3. Bennett Kill going baseline against Haggerty. Haggerty did a good job defensively and then rebounded the ball. He's going to go the length of the floor. And will be held by Holden Price.
he had a size advantage there and just had really good patience to get the foul called.
Holden Price and Cal Evans both have 3 personal fouls for Coach Brett Hammonds. No one wearing a Cougar jersey has more than 2 this evening, as it's 43-36. Steeman had just made that 3-point field goal, accepted the inbounds pass. Schaefer throws a pass inside to Bragg, and he's going to get an and one opportunity. Let's see who the foul call goes against. Bennett Kill gets foul number 2.
Really nice patience there by Bragg to be able to finish that under pressure.
So Lee's famous recipe chicken free throw for him. That he makes. My stat page says he has struggled at the free throw line this year, but not that time. And the lead is back to 10 at 46-36. Going baseline, toe. And he stepped out of bounds. Full court pressure again. Welch. Comes off the screen that time to the free throw line area.
Lincolnview's doing a much better job on the back cuts now.
Schaefer spins into the lane and rebound to Kill. Penetration dribble Evans. Shot goes off glass. No, Kill battles for it. Schaefer gets that rebound. You get the ball anywhere in the interior, and Van Wert's going back cut, aren't they?
Yep.
Welch scores points 11 and 12 for him.
And Welch just does a really good job of keeping his shoulders squared and on balance.
I'm looking at Welch, and I'm looking at Bragg, thinking, what are those guys going to be like when they play this game in 2027? You know, they're going to be 3 inches taller, and there's a 3 ball that'll go to Chase Overholt. That sophomore's got 2 threes in this quarter. Sponsored by Lee's Kinsel Sales and Service. They're both going to be about 6'2" and about 20 pounds heavier, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And strength and all those kind of things that go along with it. This experience is good for them.
I have thought for a long time in 8th grade basketball, we should be using a regulation size basketball. So it's one less a change those young people going from 8th grade to JV or varsity have to make.
Yeah, because we start so young playing games now, Mark. It would be I would tend to agree with that.
Steeman to the line, Lane, no. Rebound. Overholt throws it across court to teammate Hammonds. 48-39.
Chance to get to a 6 or 7 point game, which would be a good quarter for Lincolnview and an exciting 4th quarter coming up.
They were down 13 at halftime. See where they end up as we head through quarter number 3. Spin move in the lane, left-handed finish. That was pretty by Hammonds. Buzzer shot doesn't go. It's a really good quarter for Lincolnview, and that means we've got a really good quarter of 4th quarter action coming up after this. You're watching high school basketball on WOSN. Back at Van Wert High School, our 3-point sponsor tonight has been Lee Kinsel on Irvin Road in Van Wert. Take a look at our pre-owned specials at leekinsel.com. A 16-10 quarter by Lincolnview makes it 48-41 Van Wert as we head to the 4th.
And Lincolnview did a great job there with their ball pressure, created some turnovers, it hit some threes. And Van Wert held them at bay a little bit at the end, but this is going to be an exciting 4th quarter.
Cal Evans comes off a handoff screen that he does to Chase Overholt. This is Evans again. Good defensive play by Haggerty that time. He's going to lead the break again and has to back it out this time. Miller. And Caden Schaefer.
Good decision by Van Wert to run something here to get an open look.
Miller, Schaefer. Welch got a couple of screens and goes inside and leans up with left hand and will draw a foul.
He held that shot fake just long enough to get the defender off his feet, and once he saw him leaning in, he went right into his body, which was a really smart play.
Kill joins Price and Evans with 3 fouls. Welch will go to the free throw line and shoot Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken free throws. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken in Lima, Wapak, Delphos, and in St. Mary's. Call Lee's for all your catering needs. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home style, happens here. Makes the first. That's .13 for him tonight. Had 17 last night, averages 12 plus a game. And he drilled that one as well. He's got 14 now.
And usually at this time of the year, freshmen start hitting the wall. He has not hit that yet, and hopefully doesn't for Van Wert, but he's played a really nice floor game tonight.
Into the corner it goes to Price, and then there's a shot in the lane.
Tough shot.
Yes, it was. Holden Price's first basket of the game. Makes it 50-43. Schaefer battles through traffic. A long bounce pass is knocked away by Bennett Kill to a teammate.
Good idea. It was too long of a pass, and Lincolnview made a nice play there to get the ball back.
Kill, and then they reset. Evans throws it on top to Reed Jackson. Jackson goes to the lane. His shot's a little bit short. Haggerty checks out to get the rebound.
And once again, Miller's length caused that shot to be missed inside.
Welch pressured out on top by Price. Gets a screen from Haggerty. Back cut. Well done play, and Steeman ends up with the basket.
Welch froze him. Steeman hard cut. Nice finish. Every time Lincolnview gets closer, Van Wert answers with a layup.
It's a 9-point lead. And to the rim, and drawing contact was Cal Evans. Looked at the rim and realized he was wide open, went to the basket, and will get a chance to shoot a couple of free throws. Sponsored by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Is that Rylan Miller's foul, was it?
Yes, it was.
His second. And to the free throw line goes Evans. You just saw a rarity. Cal Evans is 24 of 26 shooting free throws on the season. 92% of that one rolled off the rim for him. He comes right back and makes that one.
And he's got a really nice shot. It's really soft, and that first one surprised me when it rolled off.
Welch with the basketball. His team is up by 8. And back to Welch. You can tell that young man's had a lot of basketballs in his hand. He really handles it well. Welch comes off a screen, tries to turn a corner, pull-up jumper. That's a 2 that will go for Welch. He's got 14 points a game, and we get a Van Wert timeout. The lead's at 10. You're watching high school basketball on WOSN. Our scoreboard sponsor tonight has been Loudix Jewelry, your family-owned and operated jeweler for over 70 years. Visit them at 1244 South Shannon Street in Van Wert or online at loudix.com. Van Wert with a timeout. They've taken a 10-point lead at 54-44. Each team has now used 2 timeouts in the basketball game. Tell me about Eager Stadium. Where are we at right now, Mark?
Phase 2 is coming up, and we're doing under the stadium with concession stands and restrooms. And on top, we're going to do a really nice press box as well. So that's our next phase. If we have enough time, the locker rooms will be in along with that phase, but that's where we're at.
3 misses. Steeman rebounds on the backside.
And does Lincolnview have one more run in the mark? Those last 5 minutes, we're going to find out.
Welch accepts the screen. Look, backdoor cut to Miller, but it wasn't there.
And Welch has really controlled this fourth quarter by his decision-making, his passing, shooting, scoring, all those things. Because at some point, Lincolnview will have to start fouling.
And he's will run in the lane, will not go for him. Hammond's rebounds. See if Lincolnview can get that last run going here, or at least one more. Here's a long three that bounces around. And we've got a rebound foul that will go against Stephen Smith.
Lancer foul number 40, Stephen Smith. His
First foul, and just the team's second here in the quarter number 4. Pretty good foul, trying to go get an offensive rebound in that situation. Haggerty ran deep, took 3 guys with him. That allowed him to beat the press.
That's been a long-standing play, and if they go, then you throw it to the outlet man. If they don't, you got a layup.
Miller wants to go baseline. Fights with Bennett Kill inside. Haggerty works inside. He finds a back-cutting Miller, and he scores. Rylan Miller's first basket of the game on a dime dropped to him by Colin Haggerty.
Haggerty has played a really good floor second half. He hasn't scored much, but he's really passed the ball well and played under control.
And we're going to get an offensive foul that will be assessed to Max Hammonds.
Lancer foul number 12, Max Hammonds.
Third team foul, his second of the game.
Third, checking in for the Cougars, number 20, Cohen Bragg.
Cohen Bragg will enter. Welch sees the trap and throws it ahead, and they get a bounce all the way to Miller. And they reset. 3:35 to go in the basketball game. Haggerty. And they reset again. Good heads-up play by him, not to force something.
And Van Wert's going to try to spread Lincolnview out and look for the opportunity to get a back cut for a layup.
Miller saves it to Welch. And they reset. Welch, penetration dribble. Haggerty turns, there's that back pass, and we're going to get a foul before the shot occurred. Max Hammonds will pick up foul number 3.
Van Wert's one away from the bonus 2-shot opportunity. And
oh, my mistake, it went to Kill, not Hammonds. Bennett Kill has 4 fouls, though. Schaefer trapped on the sideline, and that will be the foul that will put them at the free throw line.
He got fortunate, kind of dribbled to the sideline there and turned his back, and they gave him a foul. So Van Wert makes free throws and takes care of the ball. It's going to be a formality, but there's still a lot of time left in this game.
They're going to shoot a lot of Lee's famous recipe chicken free throws here in the last 2:49 of this one. Schaefer's 4 for 4 so far this evening. That's .12 for him.
And Van Wert having 3 guys in doubles has been huge.
Especially when you consider a player who averaged in double figures. Connor Campbell was unable to play this evening. Working the lane and going up off glass is Creston Toe, but he will get free throw opportunities for his efforts.
Cougar foul number 20, Cohen Bragg. His third.
Bragg gets foul number 3. He's the first Cougar to get 3 fouls.
Toe at the line shooting 2 for the Lancers.
Toe gets to shoot a couple of free throws. Lincolnview has a matchup next to Friday night with one of the top teams in the Northwest Conference, and that is Spencerville. Then they got a tough game on Saturday as they go to Miller City. Van Wert heads to Wapak for a Western Buckeye League game on Friday, and then they've got the Marion Local Flyers in here next Saturday evening. Toe gets another look at it. Makes both of those Lee's famous recipe chicken free throws for 9 points in the game.
And to get back in a game when you're down by quite a few late. You have to score when the clock stopped, and that's what Lincolnview did to set the press up. Try to get a double team, and then you had a foul.
Haggerty penetrated dribble, realized it wasn't there, brought it back out. That foul will be assessed to Reed Jackson. Reed's first personal in the game, but back to the free throw line we go. Welch for the bonus free throw opportunity situation. 14 points in the game. He's about 6 for 6 to the line this evening, I believe. See how he shoots here under the last 2:24 of this one. Point 15. Just 5 points in this quarter for Lincolnview as we played 5.5 minutes of it. Dead center, 16 for him. Toe looking to get to the lane. Short jumper in the lane. Rebound. Caden Schaefer, a very active player this evening. And he is doubled up and calls timeout. We're going to take a timeout too with 2:08 to go in the basketball game. You're watching high school basketball on WOSN. We're pleased to announce the new pricing for WSN streaming service. For only $8 per month, you can watch WSN from anywhere at any time. Sign up today at app.wsn.tv. It's also available at Roku and Apple. 59-46 Cougars. Welch breaks the press, gets past the sideline, and motors through traffic and throws it to Schaefer. Haggerty inside and gets his shot swatted away. Good offensive play, but then Chase Overholt gets the ball out to a teammate and flying to the rim and scoring at that end is Holden Price. He's got 4 now in the game and fell hard.
Yeah, hit his head against that mat over there.
And while they bring trainer action out to take a look at him, let's take a break. You're watching high school basketball on WOSN. Holden Price up and walks off the floor under his own power after the layup. Cut the lead to 11 at 59-48. And we're basketball inbounds. To Caden Schaefer. Haggerty in the middle of the floor. Bounce pass inside. Colin Bragg gets the basket thanks to the pass from Haggerty. Haggerty hasn't scored in the second half. His 17 got him to this big lead, and he has played very well in other aspects in the second half.
He's passed the ball, he's rebounded well, and he's defended well too.
Jumper in the lane. Ball comes to Rylan Miller. Just over a minute to go. Welch beats the trap.
And that'll just about do it, I think. You know, will Lincolnview keep foul?
Well, they do
yes,
right
they do.
there, as we're going to get a foul called on Toe. And to the free throw line goes Colin Haggerty. These famous recipe chicken free throws. And he bounces around and goes. That's 18 points for him. He had 11 in the opening quarter, 6 in quarter number 2, and now has a point here in quarter number 4. Rebound to Kill in the corner. Under a minute to go here. Pull-up jumper contested. And Haggerty with that rebound. He will draw a foul from Kill.
And Van Wert's length, they're not a huge team, but they're pretty long at spots. Has created a lot of contested shots for Lincolnview tonight. And that quick burst they had was the key to the game there, and Haggerty caused a lot of that in the second quarter.
The 6'3" Bennett Kill fouls out with 6 points. Very active young man on the basketball court, 6'3" junior. Haggerty missed that free throw. Free throw is brought to you by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. That one he leaves short. Scramble for the rebound. Will get a held ball that will favor Van Wert. So Haggerty has had a really nice basketball game. He's missed a few free throws here in the second half, but other than that, he has played very, very well tonight. And Keaton Welch will inbound the basketball. Lobs out front to Haggerty. And there's a foul that goes to Max Hammonds. Hammonds' fourth foul, if that matters, with 41.4 to go. Been a doubleheader here tonight. Lincolnview won the girls' game 48-27 as Haggerty makes that free throw for point 19. Coach Laudick gets all his guys off the free throw line. And that one is short, rebounded by Evans. Tipped out of bounds by Schaefer. Going to be a pretty good feeling for the Van Wert Cougars. They got a big lead, then they survived, and they're going to thrive at the end.
Yeah, and Lincolnview has a lot to build on in the new year. They play really hard, and they're really scrappy, but Van Wert was just a better team tonight and took advantage of some things inside.
Welch just motoring around with the basketball. Doesn't want to score any more points. And with that, the Van Wert Cougars are going to dribble out the last few seconds of this one. And they will win this one 63-48 over the Lincolnview Lancers. Well, Mark, you just said it a moment ago, Lincolnview is going to drop to 4 wins and 5 losses on the season. They had quarter scores of 12, 13, 16, and 7 for their 48 points, but a very scrappy effort from them this evening.
Yeah, they play very hard. They're well coached. They're undersized, and they'll have to find ways to combat that throughout the rest of the Northwest Conference schedule. But they'll be back, and that was a fun game tonight to do both the girls and boys on the same night, and really love what high school basketball is all about.
Creston Toe was their leading scorer with 9. Cal Evans had 8. Van Wert will go to 3-8 after a loss last night. That's got to feel pretty good for Coach Laudick. Quarter scores of 21, 17, 10, and 15. They were led in scoring tonight, 19 from Colin Haggerty, 16 from Keaton Welch, and a well-played game from them. Caden Schaefer had 11, good floor game for him, and a good way to end up this weekend, I think, for Coach Laudick.
It was, and they got good balance tonight. They were shorthanded with second leading scorer out and Connor Campbell, and the next man up happened, and tonight Cohen Bragg got some more time as a freshman, and they'll need that experience and as they head down to the last half of their schedule in the Western Buckeye League and tough non-conference schedule. It's really important for them to grow, and tonight was a good win for them.
Our sponsors tonight have been Laudick's Jewelry, Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken in Lima, Wapak, Delphison, and St. Mary's, and Lee Kinsel's Sales and Service, and we appreciate them. The athletic director, you got a good one. Trent Temple does a really nice job here. We appreciate all the effort he does. Our crew tonight has been Jacob O'Neill. He did all the technical work for us and the camera opportunities. He also takes us back to the station and edits it all together for your viewing pleasure. Van Wert Cougars go to 3-8 on the season with a 63-48 win over the Lincolnview Lancers. You've been watching high school basketball on WOSN.